Imagine spending years making a movie, pouring millions into it, hiring the biggest stars, only for it to crash and burn spectacularly at the box office. Scary, right? That's the nightmare Hollywood faces. But sometimes, those failures are just ahead of their time. We're diving into the legendary list of films that were called flops, disasters, or simply too weird when they first came out, but were later resurrected by fans and critics to become definitive, generation-defining masterpieces. From sci-fi noir that was ridiculed to a prison drama that made no money, these 5 films prove that a true masterpiece can't be stopped. It just needs time to prove its genius. Get ready to salute the biggest box office failures that eventually won the war. Hi guys, welcome back to Sacho Visions. Today, we're tackling one of the weirdest paradoxes in cinema, the delayed masterpiece. These are movies that had terrible opening weekends, bad initial reviews, and left their studios scrambling. But years later, something clicked. Maybe a new generation found them, or maybe the world finally caught up to the director's vision. We've put together 5 absolutely crucial examples of films that prove box office revenue doesn't equal quality. We're analyzing why they failed initially. Was it bad marketing, complicated themes, or just bad timing? And how they earned their legendary status through re-releases, home video, and word of mouth. Get ready for some major facts about your favorite flops. But before we uncover the first cinematic underdog, if you love these kinds of deep movie facts, please smash the like button. It's the easiest way to tell the YouTube algorithm we're doing a good job. And, of course, subscribe the channel and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming analyses. Thanks a million. Let's jump into the failures that became legendary successes. Movie 1, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, 2010. Let's start with a modern entry, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This film, directed by Edgar Wright, is a visually explosive, hyperactive adaptation of the graphic novel series. It was a critical darling, critics mostly loved it, but commercially it was a massive failure. The budget was around $85 million, and it barely brought in half that globally during its theatrical run. Can you imagine this? So why the flop? Simple, marketing and timing. The studio didn't know how to sell its unique blend of video game aesthetics, comic book pacing, and genuine romantic comedy. It was too fast, too stylized, and too niche for a broad summer audience. To put it simply, the movie was just too crowded, and for most viewers, it wasn't easy to understand. The turnaround happened almost immediately on home video. When viewers could pause, rewatch, and dissect the film's incredible visual gags, hidden details, and deep references, it gained its following. It resonated powerfully with millennials and Gen Z who understood its video game language. Now it's considered one of the most innovative and important action comedies of the 21st century. It proved that sometimes a movie just needs the audience to catch up to its unique frequency. And it makes you realize some movies aren't made just for the box office or entertainment. They're made to be experienced, to make you pause, rewind, and truly understand what's happening on screen. Movie 2, Donnie Darko, 2001. Next up is the mind-bending sci-fi cult classic, Donnie Darko. This film, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, deals with parallel universes, giant rabbits, and philosophical chaos. You might think a movie this strange was always destined for cult status, but its initial failure was directly linked to one of the darkest days in American history. The film premiered at Sundance, generating buzz, but its general release was set for October 2001. After the September 11th attacks, scenes in the movie involving a plane engine crashing into a house felt too sensitive and unsettling. The distributor practically abandoned the release, and it made less than $500,000 in its original run. Its second life started, like many cult films, on DVD. The director's cut clarified some of the more confusing plot points, and word of mouth spread among college students and teenagers who appreciated its moody, existential themes. Donnie Darko went from being an emotional casualty of 9/11 to a defining piece of early 2000s indie cinema, proving that sometimes real-world events can overshadow a film's brilliance. This success proves one thing: even if bad luck keeps you from reaching the place you deserve, if your work is truly professional and high quality, time will always bring you back to where you truly belong. Movie 3, Fight Club, 1999. Alright, now let's get to one of the most famous movies on this list. I know, it's hard to believe this one was a flop. Fight Club, directed by David Fincher and starring Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, is possibly one of the most discussed and analyzed movies ever made, but trust us, it was a disaster out of the gate. The movie had an astronomical budget and a terrible marketing campaign that tried to sell it as a simple action film about boxing, completely missing its dark satire and anti-consumerist themes. It opened poorly and was quickly judged by studio executives as a financial mistake. The immediate failure was a blow, but the movie was saved by its DVD release and the dawn of the internet age. The film's themes about male identity crisis and the emptiness of consumerism resonated with a vast, growing online audience. It became the ultimate anti-establishment movie, copied, quoted, and discussed endlessly in dorm rooms and online forums. The film's reputation exploded, and it's now seen as Fincher's crowning achievement and a foundational piece of late 90s cinematic culture. Remember, the first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about its box office failure. But just imagine, this movie's entire marketing focused on boxing and fighting, not on its real message. Kind of unbelievable, right? Movie 4, Blade Runner, 1982. This is a classic example of a film being decades ahead of its time. Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, based on a Philip K. Dick novel, is arguably the most influential science fiction film visually, yet its original release was a total mess. The studio panicked. They didn't think audiences would understand the moody, philosophical, slow-burn pace. They forced Scott to add a terrible happy voiceover narration and change the ending to make it less ambiguous. The original cut performed terribly in theaters against competition like E.T. Audiences wanted upbeat alien adventures, not gloomy, rainy futures. The change came when the infamous director's cut was released in the 1990s. With Scott's original vision, no voiceover, and the ambiguous ending, critics and fans recognized the genius. Its visuals became the blueprint for everything sci-fi that followed, from video games to anime. Blade Runner transitioned from a box office failure into the definitive text on cyberpunk cinema, a testament to a director's vision finally being freed from studio meddling. Correct? Movie 5, The Shawshank Redemption, 1994. I know, it's hard to believe that a movie that's been on IMDb's top list for years is even here, but trust me, there's a really interesting story behind that ranking. This might be the most shocking failure to masterpiece story ever. The Shawshank Redemption is often ranked as the greatest film of all time on sites like IMDb, but its original theatrical run was a commercial disaster. Seriously. It was released opposite Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump, and it had a confusing title and a bleak prison setting, leading to a disastrous opening. It was barely even profitable. There was no dramatic plot twist or re-release that saved it. It was saved by the simplest of methods, cable television and video rental. The film started playing constantly on cable and became the most rented film of 1995. People kept watching, and word of mouth spread about its profound themes of hope, patience, and friendship. Its slow burn success is unique. It didn't explode, it grew its reputation organically over years of repeat viewing. It's the ultimate proof that quality always wins out. Shawshank went from a box office bomb to a universally beloved classic, showing that sometimes a film just needs the slow, steady rhythm of human hearts to find its rightful place in history. This movie proved that you don't need to be overly complicated or filled with twists to succeed. Sometimes, clear storytelling and a simple but powerful message, like hope, can turn a box office failure into one of the greatest movies of all time. And the story of this film is exactly like that itself. So always remember,
hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things.
Okay, folks, we want to hear from you. What other movie do you think was completely overlooked upon release but is now an undeniable masterpiece? Drop your facts and opinions in the comments section below. A huge thank you for joining us for this deep dive into cinematic redemption. If you enjoyed this factual journey, make sure to like this video. It really helps a lot and lets more movie lovers discover our channel. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to support your favorite movie genre and never miss our next videos. And keep that notification bell on for more movie facts and history. Until the next one, keep watching the classics. See you in the next video.